Master Cheng Yen visits Kaohsiung to thank recycling volunteers for their dedication in protecting our Earth. In Selangor, Malaysia, young people reach out to help the flood-affected residents clean their home. 歡迎收睇DaAi Headlines， 我係 Ruby。我哋一齊嚟睇下今日嘅內容。Master Cheng Yen visited Kaohsiung to thank recycling volunteers for their commitment to cleaning the earth. Among them, 7 with an average of 80 have been doing recycling for more than 20 years. Let's meet these dedicated volunteers.
Young and old volunteers, including kindergartners, joined the ranks of recycling with no one left behind.
Taiwan 第一個成立的環保站，組織環保已經有32年阮嘞。
爱惜地球环保呢，足重要的。看看咱这小菩萨，伊还是将来是社会的栋梁，所以咱唔通轻视小点的光。
Regardless of sex or age, the gathered strength of all people doing recycling inspires neighbors to keep up their love of the environment. Standing in rows, their ages are 84, 83, 82, 81, and the average age of these 7 recycling volunteers is 80. They're known as the 7 Kaohsiung recycling fairies.
30 years have passed. I started doing this even before I joined Tzu Chi. I will continue to do it if I'm happy.
I live by myself and come out to encounter more competitions. She'll invite me to do it.
My sister-in-law, 5 brothers, all come out to do it. There is also an auntie and about 1,000 people or so.
Together, they regard the recycling center as if it were their own home for many years. They're not afraid that it is dirty or messy. The almighty hands of these recycling volunteers can exert great power.
I will also support the medical volunteers. I just want to be active and help where there is a shortage of people. I can easily fill in for them.
I was so bored at home. I went and saw some Tzu Chi people collecting donations. I asked, "Does Tzu Chi need any more?" He said yes, and took me here. I have been doing it now for almost 10 years.
I also go to pick up the recyclables. I picked them up and the neighbor thought that I had nothing to eat. The more I do, the happier I am.
I always go early in the morning and the last to leave. I don't even rest on the first day of the Lunar New Year. I do it every day. The dismantling area is quite busy and we can fill up at any time as we can even classify there.
红包甲大家人祝福，接触到恁的手，师傅呢声声感恩。坐伫迄个所在，伊会想方法，用头脑，要安怎样甲扭会得，要安怎样甲家，会做甲真认真，做出了大地人群有福的代志。上水的这2只手，足简单的，将伊少年做甲老啦，为家庭啦，为整个社会。
Many of us in society must thank the bodhisattvas who embrace the earth by bowing their heads and working to protect the environment by giving of themselves selflessly. Every minute and every day they are alive.
In Kaohsiung, 86-year-old Xie Xian had to rely on odd jobs to support her family because her husband was a gambler before. She was not rich, but she devoted herself to many Tzu Chi activities, like being a medical or recycling volunteer. She said as long as she can walk, she will continue to give. Back then, Xie Xian's husband was a gambler, so she did odd jobs to raise her child.
My husband loved gambling and often lost, so I had to find jobs. I thought of carrying the kid on my back so that I could help people with housework.
At that time, even though she was not rich, she was still willing to give after hearing about Tzu Chi in the market.
The street vendor just promoted Tzu Chi and recruited members over there. He came so often, yet we didn't make any donation. Finally, we donated and joined.
When her child grew up, Xie understood that recycling can help others, so she immediately started doing recycling.
I asked one of the recycling volunteers, "Are you doing recycling here? Can we join?" He said yes, so we can come to do recycling when we are free. So now, whenever I am free, I will go there.
Once she started doing recycling, she doesn't stop anyway. When she was at the second-hand goods store before, she went there as soon as done.
Xie Xian, who was only certified at the age of 67, seizes every moment to volunteer in the hospital every month.
家己修行叫做讲，那号召真多人啦来同时行这条路，这叫做德。因为你有德，大家人呢愿意对你。
第二、第四都是来
She comes every second and fourth week. We should learn from her.
跟他来学习。
She's now 86, and her physical condition is not as good as before, but she still cares about Tzu's affairs and hopes to make contributions continuously. In the Kaohsiung year-end blessing ceremony, Tzu volunteers, whether senior or newly certified, come together to pass on the Tzu's spirits. Taiwan may seem small on the world's map, but its power of love is like fireflies spreading to every part of the world.
Tzu Chi volunteers carry out their work every day to prove that Tzu Chi is always present. 2,500 people give a performance to show their will.
高雄进师弟子，高雄进师弟子。
相信使命必达，祝福大家。
50-year-old Xie Xian is a newly certified volunteer. Her two legs became paralyzed in a fire accident, but she still does Tzu Chi work with her husband.
I gave myself a chance by using my example to encourage people. My husband also encouraged me to do it. I'm grateful that I can be certified today. From now on, I will start shouldering Tzu's work.
She has come across many positive things, and that was very good, so I encouraged her to join Tzu Chi.
Many Tzu Chins are also certified in the third year-end blessing ceremony, passing on the Tzu Chi lineage and missions from generation to generation.
水地三轮体空，水地付出无所期望。
Tzu Chi has offices in over 60 countries to form good affinities with the locals.
我的囡仔拢转来一个呢，要来接受志业啦，实际人所分布的地方，期待将来啦，会一个个国家呢，会火金锅把它亮起来。
When Tzu Chi volunteers gather together, they can bring light to this road.
The Danin Tzu Long-Term Care Center is crafting with the students of the Danin Tzu Kindergarten. They are making holiday wreaths. Upon the completion of the wreath, they will auction it off to raise funds for vaccine.
I have never done this before. It's so much fun to do this with the little kids.
It's a learning activity for the young and old. It helps you develop relationships between the children and the adults.
I'm having fun, and the children are adorable.
It is said that children bring much happiness to the world. The seniors at the Tzu Chi Daling Long-Term Care Center are crafting with children to make holiday wreaths.
When he hears the bells jingle, he will deliver presents.
These holiday wreaths, when complete, will be sold for auction. The senior citizens smile as this time with the young ones brings them much happiness.
As the pandemic in Taiwan became stabilized, Timacan finally restarted the free clinic. 150 Tima members went to Pingxi, New Taipei City, to visit 97 elders, bringing them warmth and happiness.
8 months after the pandemic erupted in Taiwan, the free clinics are able to be held in Pingxi again.
Because of the pandemic, we had to stop coming here after April 20th. While we stopped coming here, I always kept on wondering how the senior people were doing. We were all very concerned.
The doctors visit these old people and also teach their families how to care for them properly.
The circulation around Grandma's wound isn't good, so the wound has not been able to heal. We didn't know how to treat it, so the team members helped us treat it.
Pingxi has the most old people in New Taipei, so in terms of long-term care, we should help these old people to live at home, not in any institute. They will be very happy to live at home.
There is one doctor who came to the free clinic the first time. It allowed her to learn gentleness in her practice.
When I was in my office, I tended to be busier, so I couldn't see their daily activities, and I couldn't have much time chatting with them.
The visits from Tima members bring warmth and happiness to the old people in Pingxi.
In Malaysia, Selangor has been severely affected by the recent flood. After the water receded, Tzu Chi volunteers call on young people to help the affected residents clean up their homes so that they can resume normal life as soon as possible.
The classroom is full of silt after the flood has receded, and the desks and chairs are also messy. The National Primary School and Taman Siri Muda needs to be cleaned up.
Many items are needed to be thrown away. They are very dirty and can't be used anymore. Many of our teaching materials are also damaged. Only a few chairs can be used. Thank you very much for Tzu Chi's helping us to clean.
During the Christmas holiday, Tzu Chi volunteers were mobilized to clean up the school with the community. Besides schools, residential areas also required a lot of manpower. Waste furniture and the cars soaked in water must be removed to allow heavy machinery to enter.
We want to move the car to let the excavator come in. We opened the door just now and turned the gas stick to the neutral position. Then we turned the steering wheel and called the military to help moving.
My husband has been helping here for a week. I brought my child and daughter-in-law here and see what my husband is doing. We also contribute our part to help, giving the children a chance to cherish their blessings while seeing others' sufferings.
The flood was worse than I thought. Because the water level was higher than me, the cars over there were all damaged, making me feel very fortunate being here.
Many young people even canceled their holiday travel arrangements to come help.
Seeing the affected residents have some difficulties, we also want to contribute our parts to help tidy up.
Someone has spread the message to a WhatsApp group, and it just happened I am free, so I came to help.
I feel that at least I can do something to help them relieve part of their burden.
With the power of volunteers and the public, the affected residents will not be lonely on this road to rebuild their homes.
In Kuala Lumpur, recycling volunteers are doing their best to protect the environment. Besides sorting recyclables, they also explain environmental protection concepts to the coming people, spreading eco-friendliness around the community. Recycling volunteers make use of different kinds of tools to do recycling. 76-year-old Xie Xian always takes actions to help in the recycling station.
I like to do things by myself. Elderly people need to do some work.
Besides sorting recyclables at the recycling station, volunteers also explain environmental protection concept to the people who come here.
When people bring recyclables here, we will ask them to spare us a few minutes to teach them how to sort recyclables.
I've learned a lot. Next time I can sort it out first at home, so when I bring the recyclables here, it'll be easier for volunteers to organize.
Back then, at the street peddling recycling station, volunteers did recycling in a container without water and electricity. But now there is a tin hut for shelter, all of which are because of volunteers' love.
I'm really happy to recycle. After finishing recycling, everyone chats together, which is regarded as a kind of care to dormant families.
Doing recycling is not limited by age, as it also cultivates more kindness. The Thai government has implemented different policies to deal with COVID, which have been particularly hard on refugees. Tzu Chi Thailand chapter offered a COVID quick screening test, an online medical consultation, a drug delivery service, and distribution of living supplies and subsidy to refugees, helping them through these difficult times.
Urban refugees in the dark corners of Bangkok, Thailand cannot receive any welfare services. With the severe COVID pandemic, their lives have suddenly become worse.
You guys have COVID and I don't want you guys to stay in our building. And we beg him too much, like, please, we don't have place to go, we don't have place to go.
Because all the refugees have some overstayers who may be illegal. If they rent a house, all the landlords and their friends don't want to get close to them, so they must do a rapid screening test to prove that they have not contracted COVID. This is the only way to stay in the apartment and continue renting.
In order to jointly care for this group of displaced refugees and prevent the occurrence of chain infection in the community, Tzu Chi Thailand launched a quick screening service through online appointments.
If we can serve more refugees, they will be more confident and can live a safer life. And today's results did not find anyone to be screened positive, which is a very happy thing.
Tzu Chi provides us with free quick screening service. It is very good for us. If we are found to be a confirmed case, we can receive treatment.
To help the refugees fight the pandemic, Tzu Chi volunteers actively carried out a relief distribution, providing living supplies and subsidies to reduce their burden and calm their worry about food and clothing.
For the past 9 months, there has been confirmed cases in our entire community, so we can't go out to work and make money. We must be isolated to receive treatment. Before, Tzu Chi provided living supplies and food, but this time also gives out subsidies. It is very helpful to everyone as it reduces their living expenses, whether it is rent, food, etc.
Since the outbreak of the pandemic last year, Tzu Chi volunteers in Thailand have actively extended a helping hand in strict adherence with pandemic prevention regulations. This family-like care has inspired everyone's love. Ibrahim, a refugee from Somalia, has lived in Thailand for 9 years, has been cared for by Tzu Chi. Now he has finally waited for resettlement in a third country to rebuild his new home.
Tzu Chi team is the best organization in Thailand because the Tzu Chi volunteer, he work like family, send your family.
This is Chinese wording means 平安.
Okay,
平安 means safe.
Thank you so much.
We wish you and your family safe.
Okay, thank you so much.
In the Philippines, people are also enhancing their COVID immunity. A 15-year-old boy received a second vaccine dose, hoping to reunite with his parents who have not met each other for a year. There are also Chinese Filipinos receiving the vaccines so as to enjoy the new year with complete protection.
15-year-old Sean is scared of vaccinations, but in order to go home, he overcomes his fear and receives his vaccine.
I can finally go home to be with my parents. I miss them very much because I haven't seen them for a year.
Li Xianping comes with her mother to receive the vaccine. Her mother was forced to stay in the Philippines because of the pandemic, but because of the language barrier, they did not know where they could receive the vaccine. Fortunately, a neighbor, who is a Tzu Chi volunteer, helped them solve their problem.
Not know each other, we just meet at the first time, but you are very nice and very helpful, so I'm really thank you.
Dr. Xuan is also grateful. He comes to help during his holiday because he wants to pay back to Tzu Chi for helping his father to go to Taiwan for his acute leukemia.
Because of that love, I want to give back also to Tzu Chi for all of what they've done because they gave another life to my dad.
Caroline is a nurse and she also comes to help in her holiday.
In this way, yun lang po. Kasi wala naman ako ibang maibibigay, hindi naman ako ganun kayaman. This is the only thing that I can give to humanity, not to give serve.
December is a season of gratitude. Whether it is to give love or to receive love, everyone should be filled with a lot of love to welcome the new year.
In Tzu Chi Santung grounds, along with the year-end blessing ceremony, Tzu Chi volunteers also held charity sales for the vaccine funds. Some volunteers made Chinese and Western desserts, while some with beautiful reusable bags for fundraising, contributing their efforts in protecting the people in Taiwan.
68-year-old Zhu Leizhu goes out in the rainy morning to buy things. She is limping because she has had arthritis for 30 years, but it does not trouble her at all. She has been supporting the master's course since October. This is the 5th time for her to create delicious vegetarian desserts for charity sale.
I will make macadamia nut tart, walnut tart, Chinese bun, vegetarian meatballs, taro cake for raising money for the vaccine.
Chinese or Western, none of them is difficult to her. She is able to receive a lot of help from people at every charity sale.
I feel this is a win-win situation. These things are tasty and also help raise money for vaccine. So I feel this is very meaningful. I will buy some more and I can give them to people.
85-year-old Kaohsiung Meizhi has been in the sewing business for half of her life. Recently, she sold many beautiful bags and put them in Xiao Bihua's clothing store for charity sale.
I'm making this bag for charity sale. The master is calling on everyone to help, so I'm making bags for charity sale.
People like those reusable bags very much, so I sent out a message in my group, and everyone responded positively. It gives us women a chance to show our love.
This year-end ceremony in Tzu Chi Santung grounds is accompanied with booths selling goods for charity.
We are donating to help purchase the vaccines, so we are supporting it with our love.
When everyone can give a little of their love, all of them can become a big river of love.
Tzu Chi volunteers went to the Institute for the Blind of Taiwan to care for the visually impaired regularly. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.